That was my check for that one.
We're good.
Check, check. Look how big you are back there.
I know. I walked in, I was like, who's that ugly guy? Why do I look so awkward with my arm, too?
What's that thing on your arm?
I've always wondered that. And look at my vein. You can see my vein on my arm. Oh, my God, that's terrifying.
No, that's in shape.
Well, thank you. Set that one up perfectly.
Yeah, you sure did. Hello and welcome once again to Theater Talk. This afternoon we have many of the cast members from the production of Once, and I'm going to ask them all to just sort of go down the row, tell us who they are, what they play, and a little about themselves, and then we'll open it for questions from the audience. I'm Jack Arneke. Thank you very much for joining us. Why don't you go right ahead?
That was a great intro. I'm Sam Siri. I play Guy. I'll just keep throwing that down then.
Hi, I'm Patricia Bartlett, and I play Barushka.
I'm Julia Hoffman, and I'm the female swing, so I understudy girl, Reza, and ex-girlfriend.
I'm Angel Lynn. I play MC, and I also understudy girl.
I'm John Hayes. I play Billy.
Oh, that's a hard act to follow. Because you don't know who I am. I'm Luke Wygodny, and I'm backstage every night. I'm a swing, and I cover 5 roles. I cover Svetch, Andre, MC, Eamon, bank manager. Did I say Svetch? Yes. Okay, yeah. I can't even remember the names of them.
My name is Adam Potter, and I cover 2 roles. I cover the role of Da, and I also cover this guy, Billy. So.
All right, good. Well, thank you. And we welcome you to Schenectady, to the Capital Region, and Proctor's Theater. And audience, this is your show. Questions from anyone. Don't all jump at once. Yes. Where are y'all from?
Background. So I'm originally from Florida. Sorry, and and now I live in Brooklyn, New York.
I'm originally from North Carolina, but I have been in the New York metropolitan area for 40 years, and I'm just happy to be here.
I'm from a cornfield in Pennsylvania called Mechanicsburg, but now I live in Philly.
I'm originally from Edison, New Jersey, but I lived in Shanghai, China for 10 years.
I'm originally from Texas, born in Houston and raised in Dallas area, and went to school in California at Pepperdine. Lived there for about 6 years in California, and then now I'm here. Now I'm here.
I'm originally from Chicago. I grew up in Evanston, Illinois, right near Chicago, actually. And now I live on the Upper West Side in New York City. And I actually went to Syracuse University, which is very, very, very close to here. Yeah.
I grew up in Kentucky, in a little town in the middle of the state there, and I've been in New York City for the last 3 years.
I just realized you're wearing flip-flops, and that's awesome.
Today it's Florida.
It's Florida
11.
Day. Yeah.
You're
Okay,
lucky
questions.
he doesn't have the mic, Sam. You're lucky he doesn't have the mic.
Questions? Yes. How insane with all of the instruments is it to be in the swing?
That's a Luke question.
So you have one mind and one heart, and there's only so much you could fit in your mind and your heart at a time. And at the beginning of the process, I tried to fit everything into this size of my head, like 15. Not even kidding. Probably every instrument in the show except the violin and the. What do you play, Barushka? You play the.
I play the accordion.
The accordion and the accordion. I don't have to play it, but it's been at the beginning. I tried to organize everything with different colored pencils. And trying to go to bed early at night. But it's such a beautiful show that every time I see it, every single night, it's fresh for me, and I think all the other swings. And to be able to be a part of this show, no matter if I'm on stage or not, it's worth every single second of my fingers bleeding, playing these strings every single day. At the beginning of the process, if you saw our fingers during the rehearsal process, they were all like calloused and like gross, and they still are. And it was worth every second. Do you guys have any other thoughts on the instruments?
My understudy, Lynn Flickinger, and I both had to learn the accordion for the show. We're pianists, but so this is not a problem, but all those buttons, that was tough. So I'm still learning.
Yeah. But you guys are living proof that it's good to listen to your mother and take the lessons, right? All right, question, yes.
I guess the best way to do that is tell I have a little story of how I got the Irish accent. I used to be a street musician and played at little cafes, and there was one cafe where all the waiters there were all Irish guys. So I would finish my set, there'd be a beautiful girl at the bar, and they wouldn't look at me twice because you'd have this guy come over, they go, "Darling, can I take your order?" And they would just... So I would talk to these guys afterwards. I was like, "You guys, show me how to do this." So it was to pick up girls. End of the day.
Incentive always works. Incentive always works. Questions, yes. What came first? What came first, music or theater?
I think everyone has a really interesting answer for that. For me, music. This is gonna be it's not offensive. I always looked at theater as like, you're in a musical, and it's not, you know. And now I am. So music came first, and then through odd situations and weird turns, I ended up here, and now I have this newfound respect for it, and it's amazing. And I've answered the question for too long.
I'd have to say that for me it was music, but it's a close tie. I grew up in a household of music. My mom was a concert piano player and made all of us take piano lessons, and I'm the only one that didn't want to stick with piano, so I picked up other things. But then I had 3 older sisters that dressed me up when I was 2 years old as Goldilocks, and they were the 3 bears. So costuming and everything's always been a part, so about the same. But I'd say music first, probably.
Interesting image now.
Well, for me, it was music because I started life as an opera singer, and I went to Juilliard, among other places. And don't be too impressed. I like the other places better than Juilliard, actually. But, oh, God, that's going to be on TV, isn't it? Cut that out.
Our signal doesn't carry to
But I came into more Broadway and theater when I started taking acting lessons. And the first thing I did is I sang for the acting teacher, and he said, "Love your voice. Never bring anything to sing in because you're an actor, and you need to own it that you're an actor." And I really learned. I've been doing a lot of straight plays since that time, and I'm very grateful for that. He forced me into it. It was great.
That's good.
I would say music first, just because like my dad was a musician and he's the one who taught me how to play guitar, and it's so that was there from the time that I was, you know, crawling on the ground holding a guitar in my hand. But I've always been I've always wanted to be an actor since I was tiny too. So I guess they just didn't cross paths until later in life, like music and acting together. So that happened later. But I guess the origin would be music was first. Yeah.
I think a lot of us are really lucky to have grown up with parents as musicians. I'm finding more and more about people's origins with music, which is cool. My dad was a high school choir director for 35 years, and my mom choreographed all the shows that he did. So I kind of grew up with that, which was really cool. So I'd definitely say theater, but then I learned music from my dad too. So kind of both.
I'll take it. I actually did not grow up in a musical household. Both of my mother is a housewife and she used to be a nurse, and my dad is currently a partner in an accounting firm. But they did grow up liking music and appreciating the arts a lot. I would say that I started with music because I think like you mentioned earlier, they were like, you must learn an instrument because it's going to be beneficial to you later in life. So I did the whole piano recitals and things like that. And then eventually growing up into high school, I got into theater and musical theater. And then my interest in music itself grew more, so I eventually started picking up other instruments in school when I was in college. And yeah, that's sort of my background, I guess.
I'm just curious if your years in Shanghai had any influence on you at all.
Well, when I moved back to Shanghai around when I was like 10, and then I moved back to the States for college. And in a way, yes, because like I said, my parents themselves aren't musicians, but they hung around and have a lot of friends that are very active in the performing arts community in China. So oftentimes they have house parties, and then afterwards they would have like karaoke sessions in our house, and like some people would break out the piano and start singing opera, and it was a really, really fun. So I guess like that also is an influence in my life too. So yes.
Okay, good. Question, yes. Are you are you wearing your own clothes, or did
Right
the
now?
theater company? Yes. I don't know. Is Yankees an official costume?
Right now we're wearing our own clothes. In the show, we do wear costumes. Yes. And I've always wondered one thing. I'm just going to point this out. This is just for I don't know if anyone else is wondering it. Why am I wearing a dress vest? I've never understood it. I'm not going to a fancy business meeting. Think about it.
I would like to ask you a question. What do you think is the most expensive costume piece on the stage? No.
Billy's shirt. Yeah, you know Yankee prices, right?
I'll tell you this, it costs $10,000.
Not my shirt.
It's girl's jacket. It's hand woven and vintage, and they had to get so many of them because there had been many different girls, and they all, are different sizes and stuff. But I was kind of shocked when I found that out.
Wow. Wow. You had a question, yes.
Oh, I just pay someone to sing off stage for me.
Let me repeat the question so they get the joke. With 8 shows a week, how do you keep your voice fresh for singing so intensely? Now throw your one-liner out.
Well, I would never do that. I would never joke about a question like that, obviously. It's very serious. No, you know what? For me, I honestly, I have no idea. I don't. I really don't. Because the way that this show is, it is basically just screaming on pitch, just being angry and yelling. But I think I'm used to, I used to play in the subways and I had to sing over trains for like 3-4 hours. So this is just like, whatever, the mic, perfect. This is great. Couple songs, it's fine. Yeah, no, but one day it will catch up to me. But yeah, no, I think it's, but you do have to be kind of smart. Like, I can't really go out all night and party, and then the next day, guy just sounds real. I always say,
Tell him the truth, Sam. Tell him the truth.
Luke, there's high school people here.
Sorry.
And what they need to know is that you don't do that. You don't go out and get.
When I'm not on stage, I'm a voice teacher, and I don't know how he does it. And he is amazing because he brings this every performance. Every performance.
But someday it will catch up with him? Someday it will catch up with him?
I don't know, because what he's doing now, I do not hear anything diminished in his tone. And
Oh, of course, he's so old now, too. So.
one thing he's done that I'm very, very proud of, may I tell him?
Sure.
He has quit smoking.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Congratulations.
I feel like a role model right now. That's why I let you say that, because I'm like, there's kids here. Kids, don't smoke. Just drink.
Amen. Water. Question, sir? How much time do you get off, and what do you do that you can tell us? And you're letting him answer?
I don't want to answer that.
You want to answer that?
Lately, we haven't had much time off. We've had a lot of travel days. We've been taking a bus a lot, that's we're either on a bus or at the theater, so we don't have any fun.
Where did
kidding.
you come?
No,
did you come from, and where are you going to after this?
I'm kidding. I'll rephrase that answer real quick. I take it back. Before we were traveling a lot, we were really into playing outside and going on hikes. We went to a beautiful hike in Vermont, and we just try and get outside every time we get somewhere beautiful. Yeah.
And like, I guess like, in terms of our busy schedule, like we are traveling a lot of the times, like the past 2 weeks has been, we take the bus, we go to a theater and we perform the same night, and then afterwards the next day we leave again and we do the same thing. But there have been, moments in time in this tour that we have like, days off, or like, since we're here for a week, we have like time before shows off. And a lot of fun stuff has happened. Like we had a stopover in Chicago, and this guy here, who's from Chicago, helped organize a little gig that we ended up playing in Chicago for a night. And so we all sort of jammed together and played a lot of songs, and we got to just sort of share music and enjoy each other's company and perform for a night that wasn't the show. And it was absolutely amazing and a lot of fun.
It's good, and obviously today, with your time off, you're doing theater talk, which is probably the most entertaining thing you've done.
Yeah.
I sleep. Just to give you a kind of an insight of the last few weeks that we've had. Usually we're in a place for 3 days to a full week. In the last 3 weeks of our tour, we left, if I can get all these right, Milwaukee. Went from Milwaukee to Easton, Pennsylvania, up to Kitchener, Ontario, over to Detroit, down to Bloomington, Indiana, over to West Lafayette, Indiana, down to Lexington, Kentucky, to Paducah, Kentucky, Huntington, West Virginia, down to Florida for 3 gigs in Orange Park, Tallahassee, and the Villages. And then we went up to Pembroke, North Carolina, and somewhere else in North Carolina, Morganton, North Carolina. And then from Morganton, North Carolina, we went to Newport News, and then we're here. So it is not only good to be here because you all are amazing crowds and a beautiful facility and a nice town. We're here for a week.
We have time for one more question. I'd like to get one of the high school kids. You're from Burnt Hills? Oh, I thought the back row was Burnt Hills. I'm sorry. I know. Okay. Are you all equity, or are there some non-equity?
Non. All non.
Really?
So yeah.
It's a what tour?
Non-union tour.
Oh, okay.
All of our crew are equity Yahtzee, or our union Yahtzee, I mean. But we as actors are non-union. So.
And what's the mix with the traveling shows? The ones that are equity and the ones that are non-equity. What percentage would there be, or isn't there?
The ones that have just closed on Broadway. The tours that go out, those are the first national tours, those are equity. And once that happens, they tend to go non-equity. And I'd say the bulk of touring companies at this point are non-equity. I entered back into the performing game about 7 years ago, and I have earned all of the points that are needed to join equity. But I have resisted doing that because there is more opportunity in non-equity. So.
And pay and benefits are comparable?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because
But there are more jobs, right?
There are because more of the touring companies have gone non-equity. There's more opportunity as a non-equity person at this point.
Specifically with our show too, we're fortunate because we're the second national tour. So the artistic team, the original artistic team, are still highly involved in this. We had the opportunity to work with them from the beginning. In fact, the first couple of weeks of rehearsal, Martin Lowe, who won the Tony for this show, was our music director until his assistant took over for this tour. So this is the same show, whether we're equity or not. There's still a living, breathing thing, creation of theirs. It's wonderful to be a part of.
They pay us in gum. And in music. That's what, we all signed up for that. They were like, do you guys just want to be paid in music and good vibes? We were like, okay. The last 3 weeks were like, not okay.
Well, these folks have got to get a bite to eat and get them and, prepare their voices for this evening's performance. So thank you all very, very much. How about a nice round of applause for these folks? And thank all of you at home for joining us at Theater Talk. I'm Jack Arnekeep. Have yourself a wonderful rest of the day.